Woj bomb, baby. According to Adrian Woj, you know, the man, the myth, the legend, but mainly a legend, he has stated that Danny Ainge is going to be stepping down as the GM of the Boston Celtics. And it works out good for me, man, because not only do I have a title for today's video, but I was doing a Celtics video anyway, man. So for today's video, we are going to be covering, you know, what the Celtics should do this offseason, why exactly Danny Ainge might be stepping down, and if it's really good or bad for the organization. Quick moment to say, guys, that we are so close to 300k subscribers on this channel. If you guys don't mind smashing that subscribe button, if you are new here, thank you all so much, man. Enjoy the rest of the video. Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. So before we get going on today's video, I want to let you guys know that over on my third channel, Crispy Flakes Plays, I started doing rebuilds over there again. Later on today or tomorrow, there should be a corresponding Boston Celtics rebuild to go along with that. So link to that in the description below. And also not doing push-ups today because, bro, I played 3 damn hours of basketball and, like, I was fine. And then I went and pushed this little ass fertilizer thing around my yard and I pulled out my damn back, bro. So yeah, I'm not doing push-ups. I'm taking a little break from those. But yes, you guys still want to leave a like just because, you know, man, you love the content. That would be greatly appreciated. Okay, so Danny Ainge stepping down as GM of the Boston Celtics. Why might exactly would he do this? Because you look at the team. A young Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, like Robert Williams looks very promising. Like, it looks like to me the start of a dynasty with a few minor tweaks here and there. Now, when it comes down to it, man, there could be multiple reasons. We do know as of late, you know, the Celtics have kind of been in the media for some not so great reasons. You know, a lot of people saying the fans are racist and stuff, which I don't like to stereotype people like that. I know plenty of great Boston Celtic fans out there that are great people, so there could be racist fans in Boston. It does not make Boston Celtic fans racist, but you know, it could be some backlash from that where he's just like maybe this is going to get worse. And some of the comments he said too, maybe not acknowledging it, could also, you know, just lead some upper management guys to kind of tell him like, hey man, like maybe it's a good time to like step away. But beyond that, man, like getting more on like the basketball side of it, the thing about Danny Ainge is that he's literally the king of finessing. Like, since 2003, the amount of times I've seen Boston Celtics in, like, trade rumors and free agency rumors, and basically, if there's a free agent or a guy available in a trade, you know, Celtics are all over that. They're diving all over it, but the thing about it, man, is that Danny Ainge has been finessing other franchises for so long. You know, it worked years ago with the Boston Celtics Brooklyn Nets trade that got them all the draft picks that eventually led to them getting guys like, you know, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But, and, you know, obviously that was like the Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce to the Nets trade, which was just, come on, Nets. I mean, it worked out now. Look at your guys' team now. But regardless, man. So, I think when it comes down to it, you know, here in 2021, I think teams are straight up afraid to trade with Danny Ainge. Even if the trade looks reasonable. By the way, shout out to the subscriber that said that to me, man. It was a good way to put it. You know, even if a trade looks reasonable, they're still not going to pull the trigger because they're like, well, like why is Danny Ainge doing this? We know that Danny Ainge only does these trades if it's completely one-sided for his squad, right? So eventually, you know, like trades don't get done. You know, it really pisses off probably fans too, just being like, we're going to get like Kawhi Leonard or we're going to get like LeBron James, and like nothing ever comes of it. So yeah, when it comes down to it, man, I just feel like, you know, Danny Ainge himself now has this reputation of a finesser, and by him leaving the team, it's going to allow teams to gain that respect back of the Celtics organization and maybe do some trades with them and, you know, certain things out there that will kind of get things going on. Because even you look at the recent one, the Evan Fournier trade. I mean, we all know that the Orlando Magic was having like a fire sale of all their players, but still, like Evan Fournier, an 18-point per game score, you know, before he was traded for 2 second-round picks. Like, that is a finesse right there. But that's because the Magic were open up to being finessed because they were selling everybody, right, man? So that's the case where it works, but of course those type of trades are few and far between. So yeah, man, when it comes down to it, I just don't think Danny Ainge, I don't think teams want to do business with him anymore, and at least he's the poster boy for us. So if he's no longer part of the organization, then obviously there's somebody out there and they'll start doing trades with them again. It's gonna be good for the Boston Celtics, man, because, you know, if we really think about it, the Celtics are a great team. Like, in my opinion, this season was a big like anomaly. I think they're going to bounce back next year. Now, obviously, some things do need to happen in the offseason, but, you know, let's not joke around about it. Jaylen Brown, losing a guy like that, an all-star, I mean, your team is going to become worse because of it, right, man? So the fact, it's not like they played against the Brooklyn Nets with a full healthy squad and got blown out. No, they were missing one of their all-star players. Jason Tatum still shows promise as a superstar. He really is already a superstar in the NBA, and he's only damn 22 years of age, guys. Like, dropping 50 points against KD, like, that ain't nothing to joke about, right, man? So, yeah, but there's obviously some other things with the team. I think just, like, the way that, like, the makeup of the squad, sometimes teams and coaches focus on the player and not so much the team, and they'll be like, this player is really good, but maybe he doesn't really fit into the team system, right, man? So here are some of the moves that I think the Celtics need to make this offseason. Now, keep in mind, not all these moves need to happen, but if a few of them do, then I think that will be good. First, I think you got to decide about what you're going to do with Kemba Walker. If you decide he's going to be part of the future, I've been saying for a while now that Kemba Walker, in my opinion, is not a good fit with this team. I still think Kemba's a great player. It's just that when it comes down to it, man, like the two great things about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is that they're really good scorers. They can score the basketball, the ball, you want it in their hands, right? You want them set up for the best optimal opportunity to make a shot for efficiency reasons and just for the flow of the offense. The thing about Kemba Walker is that Kemba is best when the ball's in his hands. And the ball's in Kemba's hands, it's not in Jason Tatum's or Jaylen Brown's hands. I think that's pretty simple enough, right, man? So when it comes down to I want a point guard out there that can play a bit better defense, make plays for others. Kemba's a decent playmaker, but I want a guy that, man, can go for damn 10 assists or whatever, and is not afraid to only maybe take 5 to 7 shots a game, but can still kind of affect the flow of the game in other ways. So I've been saying for a while now, a perfect trade, in my opinion, would be Kemba Walker over to the New Orleans Pelicans in exchange for Lonzo Ball, and maybe you can even get like Steven Adams out of it, just to get the you just get Adams' contract off the Pelicans books. Just because for me that solves two issues. Lonzo Ball fits in with the flow of this team. He fits in age-wise. That's not really a rebuild, but he fits in with just like how the team is being built going forward. He's the perfect point guard in my opinion. But also Kemba Walker over on the Pelicans, to me, he's a Stan Van Gundy type of point guard, right? Like Van Gundy always likes those small, bucket-getting guards out there, going back to Jameer Nelson days on the Orlando Magic. I think he fits out pretty perfectly over there. But yeah, then also getting Steven Adams over on the Celtics, that does beef up the center position with a good veteran that once again can affect the game without the ball actually being in his hands. I love Robert Williams. I do think he's a future all-star in the NBA. I really think that. But also when it comes down to it, like you do want more of a veteran guy out there alongside him because he doesn't get in foul trouble or injuries can happen. So, just because you get like another solid center does not take away the development from that guy. I still think there's room for a guy like Steven Adams and Robert Williams to coexist and maybe be a good mentor for him, right? Like setting them hard-ass screens and everything. So that's a trade that I really do like. Next up, I do think they need to decide on guys like Romeo Langford and Carson Edwards. Like, when it comes down to it, that's one thing that I don't like about really good teams getting high draft picks at times. And not like super high draft picks, because typically if you get a top 5 pick, that guy is going to be part of like the starting lineup. But, typically if you get something from like that 10 to 16 range, then you're going to end up getting a really solid prospect that's just never going to get a chance on that team. So with those guys, I just don't think that, especially Romeo Langford, I don't think the opportunity is going to quite be there. I don't think the patience is going to be there. I think the Celtics would much rather re-sign a guy like Evan Fournier, who's just a guy that you can count on, can be in your starting lineup, or can come off the bench, and that's completely fine. So I really think they should trade those guys away, maybe get some draft picks or toss them in as assets to get other veteran guys on the team. There's a lot of different possibilities when it comes down to it. Another guy I would like them to go for, man, it would be like a Brandon Clark from the Memphis Grizzlies. So Brandon Clark has kind of been like in and out of the rotation of the Memphis Grizzlies, but he's just a really good high energy type of 6-man that can stretch the floor typically and just do some solid things out there. I think he's somebody that can play a little small ball center, play the power forward position, maybe small forward in some lineups, but probably not ideal when it comes down to it. But yeah, I just look at the Celtics bench and they have a lot of young players on there. Brandon Clark is young himself, but he was an all-rookie his rookie season, so that was nice to see. But, players like Grant Williams, I mean, I guess maybe the potential's still there, but overall, I wouldn't mind trying to improve at some of those positions. And outside of getting a guy like a Brandon Clark, if you can get some more veteran guys out there, just because the Celtics are kind of coming off as a team now that can be injury prone, so you do want some guys that can come in there and just kind of take over when somebody goes down with injury, so you don't have to rely on some of the younger guys. I love Peyton Pritchard. Like, he had a really solid rookie season, and I do think he's a future, really solid backup point guard in the NBA, especially in the Boston Celtics. But when it comes down to it, it just wouldn't be bad to have like some locker room veterans. So I don't know what those guys look like exactly. It's not like a very strong free agent class as far as like top name superstars, but there is just a lot of really solid vets out there that they could definitely add a little toughness to their team. So I think that's probably a pretty good way to go. And speaking of free agency and superstars, I mean, obviously being the Celtics, I think they should take a swing at a guy like a Kawhi Leonard. I don't know financially if that would work out. Keep in mind, I'm not really putting cap space into consideration. A lot of that that would consider maybe doing like a sign trade of Kemba Walker or trading Kemba away for cap space, whatever you really need to do. But you know, it is the Boston Celtics. They are one of the greatest franchises in the history of the NBA. They have the logo, they have the name, they have the team that people want to play for. They have the young guys out there. Like, convincing a superstar to come join the team would not be out of the realm of possibility. But outside of Kawhi Leonard, you know, it falls off pretty quickly. I mean, you know, you got Kyle Lowry, he was good, but not really needed on the Celtics team. Mike Conley, I think, is a free agent. DeMar DeRozan could maybe be interesting as like a sixth man, I guess, but I don't really see anything like that happening. So overall, I do think it's going to be a year of, you know, I think next year they're going to make some moves this offseason, but I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy. I think it's going to be a year of continued development, getting guys healthy, developing some of the young players, and going from there. And then kind of like a last type of like signing or trade I wouldn't mind seeing would be like Serge Ibaka. I feel like Serge would also fit perfectly, much to like Steven Adams. Like, you can have him as your starting center or a backup guy, assuming his injuries and everything kind of get fixed. But he would also be a pretty solid mentor to Robert Williams, right, man? So, yeah, when it comes down to it, I think this Celtics team is going to be fine. I think losing Jaylen Brown, having Marcus Smart injured, Kemba Walker injured at points in the season, obviously that's going to hurt with chemistry. But they'll be back next year. Like, this team is too damn good. You know, Danny Ainge stepping down and doing something else with his life, that's completely fine. But also getting some new blood in there, just a new perspective, can really be great for a franchise. Or it can be really bad. It depends who you get, right, man? Like, you get like Darko out there as your GM, then you know, might not be the greatest move. But maybe, you know what, maybe Darko's actually a good GM. How would I know, man? He wasn't a good basketball player, could be a good GM. But that's all we have for today's video. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these videos. Like I said, over on my third channel, Crispy Flakes Plays, there should be a corresponding Boston Celtics rebuild. I already have a Miami Heat one up, so if you guys want to check that out. But yeah, man, thank you guys so much for the support. Be sure to drop that like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. We on the road to 300K. That's all we got, my friends. Peace out.